It's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into some of the key issues in the spotlight right now. And the world is seeing a rise in virus cases due to the new Omicron variant surfacing.
That's right, and also with a warning of another massive resurgence in the fall and winter. Will we be ready? Well, to find out, we connect with Ben Cowling, Chair Professor of Epidemiology at University of Hong Kong, joining us this morning. Good morning to you, Professor.
Good morning.
All right, so first things first, I guess with these new Omicron subvariants, we understand some countries are actually seeing spikes in daily infection numbers right now. Which countries particularly are seeing, I guess, increases in daily infections, and also how concerning is it?
Well, BA4 and BA5 have been reported in parts of Europe. South Africa has seen a lot of cases of BA4 particularly. The US is seeing another subvariant. But one of our concerns is that we don't have eyes everywhere in the world. There may be other parts of the world that are having epidemics with these subvariants that is not recognized yet because of the lack of surveillance data and particularly virus sequence data.
And Professor, I know you've talked about having to develop vaccines that really adapt to new variants. And well, what's the progress like at this point? Are we going to see any new vaccines anytime soon?
I think the companies have tested Omicron-specific vaccines, but the news has gone quiet on those, and it seems like maybe we're not going to get a chance to have those. Maybe we have to wait for the next variant in the future before we can have updated vaccines. I think it's not ideal. It would be better if we can have vaccines that keep up with the circulating virus. We're now using a vaccine with the strain that's 2 years old.
So another thing that we heard just not too long ago is the White House saying that the U.S. could potentially see about 100 million infections in the fall and winter. How likely is this, and how will this impact the world's push to kind of transition into the endemic phase?
I think the big question we're all asking is, what would the severity of those infections be like? If it's 100 million coughs and colds, that's actually nothing unusual. That's been happening for many, many years. We all get coughs and colds every winter. The question is, how many of those potential COVID infections would need to be hospitalized, would lead to severe disease, even fatality, even death? We don't know. And that's really the question that we're all thinking about. Hopefully, with the high vaccine coverage, with the high levels of immunity from natural infections, we won't need to worry about COVID so much in the future as we have in the past. But it's not going to go away completely. It's still going to pose a threat.
And Professor, I suppose the next big question is whether we can actually turn this pandemic into an endemic, given the subvariants and the variants that keep emerging. So what's your stance on this?
Well, certainly the virus is not going away. I don't know whether it will be always present in somewhere like Korea, or whether it will come and go. We'll have epidemics like we have with flu. So sometimes of the year there'll be a lot around, other times there won't be any. I think that is the most likely trajectory for COVID. And as new variants and subvariants emerge, they will spread around the world, causing epidemics, hopefully mainly mild infections, hopefully not too many severe cases. And that would mirror the pattern we have with influenza now.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term consensus is that, it's long from over right now. But just kind of judging by, I guess, I want to get your take on which countries had the best quarantine measures in place, because at the same time, it seems like those are some of the measures that we could take in for potential resurgences to come in the future. So which countries would you say did the best when it comes to the quarantine measures?
Oh, and every country has different capacity to do things. China did very well in the first 2 years of the pandemic, minimizing the numbers of infections and severe cases. But I don't think many other countries could replicate the system and the infrastructure set up in China. I think Singapore has done pretty well in managing cases. And one part of that, a key part of that, is knowing the situation in the community, having awareness of the levels of activity of COVID, and being able to respond in response to the case numbers. So knowing what's the level of incidence and then responding to that. And I think that's going to be the way going forward. So surveillance is going to be essential.
Well, it looks like we'll have to keep on adapting then. Professor, well, thank you so much for your insights today. We look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you.